Hello and welcome to a very special ESC Fan TV. Before we go any further, shall we have a look at what happened?
Promise and continue to stand for peace.
Welcome to Switzerland, the birthplace of the Eurovision Song Contest. In 1956, here in Switzerland, a promise was made to create an international TV show that celebrates music, friendship, and togetherness. We invite you to celebrate this promise with us next year. In a city that lives music and creativity. A city that breaks codes and where all people can feel safe and belong. A place where you can feel at home. Welcome to Switzerland.
Herzlich willkommen
in Basel. Welcome to Basel!
Well, unless you had your head in a bucket this morning, you'll have all know that Basel has been chosen. And here to discuss what we think about it, we have our panel. We've got Tom. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, Tom's had his eyes done, so just ignore that. And welcome, Sean.
What find this? That's hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
And hello to Elliot.
Hello, bonjour, guten tag. I mean, we're going to learn about 4 different languages in Switzerland now, aren't we? But
yeah. Yes, we need to know what beer, wine, and burger is in 4 different languages. So it's Switzerland have announced it's Basel, and it's going to be on. Oh no, I forgot what the dates are. What is it? 17th for the final. So it's 13th, 15th, and 17th of May next year. We're all very excited. It's the 3rd time that Switzerland have hosted. They hosted the very first one in 1956 back in Lugano, then 1989 in Lausanne, and 2025 is going to be in Basel. So let's go to Tom. Tom, what do you think about it being Basel and not Geneva?
Do you know what? I think it's quite a nice place to hold it. Also, because if you think about it, it borders France, it borders Germany. I think in terms of the location, I think they've nailed it on the head. It's very accessible for the whole of Europe. And to be fair, I think everyone associates Geneva with Switzerland. I really like it when the Eurovision host country actually picks a city that you don't necessarily think of. Harrogate, 1982. Liverpool, 2023. Malmo. You know, we're going somewhere that's, you know, a bit outside the box. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic choice.
Thank you very much. Elliot, we were discussing before about the arena and the setup of the arenas. Can you elaborate a little bit more about the arena?
Yeah, so the venue has been confirmed as St. Jacob's Hall, or St. Jacob's Hall, translated into English. It has a max capacity of 12,400 people, it states. So probably expect about 11,000 tickets, 11.5. The interesting thing is that, like with a lot of these arenas, like the AO in Manchester with their bid, Rotterdam, it's got a weekly tennis event at the top tier at the end of October. So it's used to these sorts of big crowds, events, security, changing rooms, like all this infrastructure that is needed for this sort of thing, because there's a lot of strict rules about if a venue can host or not, down to a finite detail of, are the changing rooms close enough to the stage? You know, for those sorts of reasons, because that's one of the reasons why Manchester didn't get it, was they were literally too far back. So I think as an infrastructure, it is very good. And also, as we were saying earlier, they've got the St. Jacobs Arena next door, which, like similar to Globen, they had their second arena and Tel Aviv. So they don't have the space for a green room, or they want to get more fans in. there's that adventure as well, or that's where they put all the media instead. Basically, as a venue, they've got a lot they can do with this. I was slightly anticipating Geneva, but like Tom said, I can see why Basel's got it, mainly for the accessibility. You can easily drive from any main point of Europe to get there, and with the rising costs of the world and Eurovision and how expensive Switzerland's going to be, having it somewhere that's accessible that isn't by plane only probably will be a selling point for a lot of delegations to compete, because that's a big way you can cut down on your costs.
That's true. That's very true. And I think with the arena next door to it, when we were in Stockholm, I was in the arena next door, and it was really reasonable. It was only about £10 to go there. There was a massive bar. You could walk up to the bar. You could walk around with a drink in your hand. They had a stage up. Loreen was on beforehand, and a whole host of other Swedish acts. Måns Zelmerlöw came halfway through, did a bit of a skit there as well. I know, Sean, I know. I was very excited at that.
Did you really?
Yeah. And there was seats. You could sit if you wanted. No one was allocated a seat. Sit, stand, dance. And it was absolutely fantastic. It was a real party atmosphere. And I think if they did that, I'd be thrilled if I couldn't get a main ticket to go and do that. So let's go to Sean. Sean, we're going to just compare Basel to Geneva. So Geneva has approximately 15.3 million visitors per year, and Basel has 784,000.
Wow.
So on that sort of scale, would you rather go somewhere small like Basel that's got loads of culture? It's got old towns, it's got the river, it's got art galleries galore, loads of food places with a small town sort of feeling, or would you rather go to the big city of Geneva with 100,000 people that are all turning up on the same week as you anyway, that aren't interested in Eurovision?
You know what? If you look at all the footage I've been looking at footage, drone footage of, aerial footage of Basel, and what's there and whatnot. It looks absolutely beautiful. You can't not want to go to a place like Basel. It's absolutely stunning. And the fact that the venue is so accessible, and you could get there quite easily from not necessarily Switzerland, it's kind of quite tempting, isn't it? Maybe just to pop in for, just for the concerts if you really have to as well. You know what? I think it looks an absolute stunning place. There's loads of fantastic art and culture and architecture there. It looks absolutely beautiful, I've got to say. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I've always said, like, Switzerland, I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. But you look at all the footage now, and it's like, oh, wow, what a beautiful place.
Yeah, as Elliot said before when we were having a chat, it's less than 10 hours drive from the UK. So,
wow.
We've been to some places like when it was in Malmo. If you couldn't get a flight to Malmo, to drive to Malmo, it's going to take a couple of days. Whereas this is doable. You could drive there.
Plus, road trips are fun. Who wouldn't want 10 hours of road trips of Eurovision music?
Well, as I don't know if anybody else is aware of this, but me and Phil often go on a road trip before Eurovision with Oban, and we had, I think it was 5 days, and all he would let us listen to was that year's Eurovision songs. It was amazing. to Turin. It took us 4 days to get to Turin. That's all we listened to. So let's go to Tom. Now, Tom, everybody, this is on the tip of everybody's tongue when you mention Switzerland and Basel and Eurovision. How much is a pint of beer?
Well, first of all, Michelle, let's look at the exchange rate. So if you're in the UK, there is 1.12 Swiss francs to a pound. Okay, and for those of you that have the euro, you're looking at there's 94 cents to a euro. Okay, as it's centimes. I'm not sure. I'm not up with the pence language in Swiss. So in terms of money, you're not going to get much more for your it's more or less a pound, isn't it? So for a pint, you're looking between about £7 and £8. So let's face it, it's going to be a bit like being in London drinking, but not as bad as being in Stockholm.
That's true. Yeah, and we never thought we'd say those words. It's like, yeah. So our coffee is about a £5 as well for a coffee. But the big hitter is a meal, and I've had a look, and it just says for a cheap meal, it's £22 just for a cheap meal, not a 3-course meal or anything like that. But I think that's like a proper meal, not a burger or anything like that. I'm sure you can find cheaper venues.
I always find the best indicator, and they used to do it years ago, right? The best indicator of how much a meal is going to cost is basically to look up how much it costs for a McDonald's. Yeah, and I'm not even joking, right? That is the best indicator because obviously they try to tie in their food to make it fast food and competitive and things like that. So a McDonald's meal, extra value meal in Switzerland is going to set you back about £12.50. So that gives you an idea of how much you're going to be paying for your food.
So if you do drive there, then the best thing is to put a big cooler in your boot and fill it full of sandwiches.
Or go to McDonald's in France and take it across.
Yeah. How much is a pot noodle in France? Just take a load of pot noodles with you. That'll be fine. Let's have a look. What else have we got in our interesting facts? Oh, if you book a hotel room in Basel, you get a travel pass as well. So all your public transport is included with the travel pass for if you're staying in a hotel there. So I don't think that's too bad, really. It was the same in Geneva, but
no, that's really good because say we know as Brits that can be a killer public transport. So if it's included, again, that brings things down, but.
It just said that there's green and yellow trams and buses, and the buses are all they're always on time and they're always really efficient. Well, imagine that everything in Switzerland is going to be efficient. But it says the Basel card for public transport, which is included in your stay. So unless you're getting like a private rent or an Airbnb sort of thing, you might want to factor that in if you are private renting to see how much these cards are. And it might be worth getting a hotel instead. So, and it's, what do you think, Sean? Sean, what's your language skills like? Can you say Big Mac, please, in French and German?
Yeah, I can go, "Mir the Big Mac, please."
Right, well, oh God, Sean, we're going to have to cut that out now.
No, we're not. It's fine. Anyone can do an accent. Well, I did basic French, German, and Italian at school. Can I remember? No, I can probably say please, thank you, count to 1 to 10, and the odd swear word. But that's probably about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll all get by. We always do, don't we?
Yeah. I've been to Switzerland quite a few times and I've never had a problem at all. And I can barely speak English. So I don't think it's too bad. And as we know that Basel, it couldn't be any closer to the airport if it tried.
No, I mean, I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's really close." For Geneva, it was right next door to Geneva's airport, and ironically, the EBU headquarters. It was literally 10 minutes away, but so the EBU's got to commute this year a bit further. But he actually said it's right next to the airport. Like I said, it's right next to Germany. It's right next to France. It's Italy. Like I said, it's so accessible to get to as a city, and I said it looks like a very nice city as well. The only quote unquote issue there could be is if everyone is traveling, and by cars and whatnot, is there space for it? But I'm sure there will be. I'm sure these are conversations that have already been taking place. But yeah, I think what has ticked it over is the accessibility, and also probably seeing that not even the success, but seeing what a lot of fans did in regard to Malmö, where they stayed in Denmark and came across. I think a lot of places are now looking like, well, this is actually something that is now viable, and if that's what fans are looking to do to help themselves out, then that's something we've got to think about ourselves, because the last thing Switzerland will want, or any nation, is a Eurovision where they're struggling to flog tickets and whatnot for one of the biggest events in the world, and with one of the biggest fan bases in the world as well. So I definitely see why they've done this, because like I said, I know people staying in Germany, someone saying they're staying in Saint Louis in France, they're already planning just to funnel in because it's just so accessible.
Yeah. And last but not least, did anybody go to Vienna? Did you go, Sean? Did you go, Sean? We're
It
going
was
to
my
talk about,
first one. My first one.
it was my first one as well. We're going to talk about the weather. So it
still,
turns out...
Well, I'm still not dried out from Vienna, to be honest. I've still got some wet socks somewhere.
A poncho was not enough. It really wasn't. So I've had a little Google and it's about 20 degrees in May, but it has the highest rainfall of the year with 11 days. And we all remember, well, me and Sean remember Vienna. It was a shocker. What do we think about?
So it's going to be warm rain then? Sounds like the UK in May. Sun, rain, sun, rain.
Sort of all right with warm rain, but Vienna was cold.
Oh.
It was cold.
Mm.
It was really, really cold.
Wasn't nice, was it?
I mean,
no.
We can hope that because this year the rainfall was above average. There were 16 days of rain in Basel this year.
Yeah, but this year was an El Nino year, so you always get a bit more rainfall. There you go.
Thank you,
so next year, hopefully, law of averages, get a bit less rain.
So yeah, I don't know if the year after an El Nino you get less rain. Maybe you do. But saying that, we all turned up in Stockholm with jumpers and long trousers and anoraks and scarves and gloves. I had to go out and buy the most expensive sun lotion I've ever bought in my life. It was about 25 quid.
And Liverpool, we were telling everyone, bring a coat and bring an umbrella because it's going to rain in the northwest of England. Like I said, it's the nicest weather I've ever seen north of the M6.
I'm still.
It was gorgeous sunshine for 8 days. I was like, how are we lucked out on this?
Crazy. Can we ask Netta what the weather's going to be like next May in Basel? And then, we can plan accordingly if we just ignore exactly what she says.
She says it's thunderstorms. Wait, yeah, it's going to be thunderstorms, yeah. So it should be sunny and nice.
I mean, at the end of the day, the weather's weather. If you're smart, you pack for all 4 seasons when you're going away, or you check beforehand,
Says Elliot that doesn't fly with EasyJet or Ryanair and can only pick 3 pairs of knickers in a bag for carry-on.
Says Elliot, who has family who are flight attendants who have been trained to do this.
I'm never going to fit. I'm going to have to fly in my Union Jack dress if I go there.
Or pay €100 for Ryanair carry-on luggage.
I'd rather walk there.
I was going to say, I'd rather walk.
I'm joking. It's not as much as 100. It's only 100 if they catch you out.
It's like your carry-on should not cost you more than the fucking flight.
No, that is true. Does anybody
and yet,
else?
Somehow for Ryanair, it always does.
Does anybody else have anything that would like to add about the announcement today of Basel and how excited we are?
I don't think so, but I think Netta's a little bit disappointed. She was planning to release a new song. It's a cover of one of the Venga Boys songs. Oh, we're going to Geneva, but no, she hasn't cancelled that.
Yeah, and on that bombshell, I think we're done. I think that'll do for now for this. So we'll say goodbye to Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elliot, for joining us.
Thank you, guys. It's been amazing as always.
And Sean, thank you, Sean. And can you also tell us what's coming up next on ESC Fan TV?
Yeah, well, that's a thanks for that, Michelle. Well, coming up, we've got Retrovision, haven't we? We've got one of those coming up very soon. Is it 1970?
On the 15th of September.
1973.
1973.
Yeah, 1973. Is that in a couple of weeks? Couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, and then after that, of course, the A to Z of Eurovision continues with episode 5. That's later on in September as well.
Yeah,
we've got all sorts of things planned.
Yeah, and also in September, when people release a song, we might just nip on and just do a quick, what do you think of that?
Should we try and get Celine for an interview?
Yeah. I say we start at the top and we work our way down to Martin Osterdahl.
Yeah, let's face it. Yeah, I mean, he needs to get his favourability back up, doesn't he? So he'll need to do a few interviews, maybe.
And on that bombshell, find us all on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Mastodon, X. I think that's everything.
TikTok.
Find us anywhere. TikTok. God, TikTok. I always forget one. But we'll see you soon. But for now, from ESC Fan TV, it's bye.